Hello. Hello, everyone. Tonight I had prepared another special guest, another one you could say, another great publisher. Okay. And I'll give a brief introduction, as always. Then I'll hand it over to him and he will introduce himself. So, Mark is, let's say, one of the first to access my innovative consulting program. Why innovative? Because I launched something that had never been seen on the market before, namely the first goal-oriented package. What does it mean? Unlimited consultations until the goal is reached. So it's not the usual X hours for X money and then goodbye, but rather we start together, understand the starting point, and move forward with unlimited support until the predetermined goal is reached, which in this case with Mark was to help him earn 5,000 euros net in a single month. Then we will go on to explain in detail how the program is structured. But for now, I want to give the floor to Mark, who will introduce himself and tell us a bit about his background before joining the program.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I am Mark Speroni. I am 43 years old, and I am an employee, an administrative employee, so I work 40 hours a week from Monday to Friday. I discovered, let's say, the world of set publishing by chance last year in 2021, at the end of 2021. And so I started studying with a course I had found on the internet, which gave me a lot of theoretical knowledge. But then in practice, at the end of the course, I didn't know how to proceed. From the very first step, what to do, what not to do. So I put this activity on hold for a while. Then what was it? I think it was March when you started. April, yes. In April, I discovered again on Facebook, I think, your program. And what I liked about it was that it included a theoretical course, which I needed because I needed to learn. And then there was this 5K net goal package for which I would have weekly continuous consultations until I finally reached the goal. And I liked this because at that moment I was, let's say, navigating in open waters, meaning I needed guidance. I tried it right away. I called immediately and I started doing it every week. First, I followed the entire course, of course, and then I started doing the coaching sessions every week. And indeed, I started publishing.
Okay, now let's get into the specifics of the program. After that, Mark, I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted to understand, let's say you told me that you had already taken other programs, right? So I wanted to understand, but you didn't get results, if I understood correctly.
No, because it was a very theoretical course, meaning it explained everything from a theoretical point of view. It was perfect. It explained all the meanings, all the terms, everything. But then in practice, I had 6,000 doubts. I had no one to follow me, to help me. And then they were all ideal books. So we aimed for perfection in every aspect, making the perfect brief, the perfect analysis, and everything. But what do you mean? Instead, I really needed to get my hands dirty to understand how to handle each step.
Let's say you saw a little, how can I put it? Pragmatism. Exactly. More. Yes. A general discussion. Maybe a bit more things that are left to be interpreted or to interpret. Things that are said. Then, as you were telling me about this discussion, to do everything perfectly. So maybe, yes, I mean.
Actually, for example, your course, when I started watching it, was set up in a completely different way. You went straight to the point on every aspect to see practically what needed to be done for the brief, for the cover, for example. the topic of the cover opened up a whole new world for me. Because I mean, now when I have to do the brief for the cover, I use your strategy, which not only saves me much more time, but is also much more effective. Because by doing it this way, there are many more chances that the cover will get clicks. Before, it was all about the theoretical world. You had to choose the colors of emotions, those kinds of things.
Now then, and it was specifically on these points, right? This is a small preamble I wanted to make for all the various self-publishers, because unfortunately in this industry, it's easy to come across, let's say, half-truths, things left a bit vague, or complexity created intentionally, because then in response, let's say, useless services are proposed. How do you see them, Mark? I mean, let's say...
Useless and expensive. I mean, there are services that alone cost as much as publishing a book and add nothing more to the publication. So if someone gets into those circles, they end up paying an exorbitant amount for a book, and just to break even with what they spent, they have to wait months, if they're lucky.
You didn't say it was okay, did you? Because...
Exactly,
No.
But there are books that don't sell. Even if you do everything right, you understand the famous Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule, in short.
Yes, which we try to reverse.
Exactly.
We make 80 that sell and 20 that don't sell.
Exactly, but there will always be those 20 that don't sell. Exactly, by limiting the damage with those that don't sell, we have spent relatively little and we manage to recover much better.
This is the principle of entrepreneurship, right? Investing the minimum to get the maximum.
Indeed. And that is another aspect that was not covered at all in the previous course, and that I discovered in your course, the entire management of costs, fixed costs, variable costs, and then the margin calculation. Margining is fundamental, and your course focuses a lot on this, because if we work with ideas and principles, but at the end of the month we find ourselves below 10,000 euros, we must always keep that in mind and ensure that the income exceeds the expenses in the best way possible.
The beauty of business is that it is based on numbers. You have to look at numbers to understand, in short, the framework to see if things are going well, not going well, can go well, or cannot go well, because as long as it's just big words. Yes, this cover is nice, but I also see the dashboards around, but where is the net?
And that is another aspect, namely the issue of dashboards. Royalties are great, but then you have to see how many expenses there are behind them. Because if I have a dashboard showing 10,000 euros, but I spent 8,000 euros on books and 5,000 euros on ads, I'm down by 3,000 euros.
Then the dashboard in the group with the motivation post is fine. And take 2 minutes of glory. Things that, for example, are not allowed in my group, meaning you have to publish how much you spent, how much you didn't spend, because otherwise you are really counterproductive. And so, let's say, if we have to summarize the differences a bit, we obviously mention the management, all the management and organization of the business, the costs. So, a significant reduction in costs.
Remarkable.
Because I tell you things as they are. Because I don't care about pushing service X over service Y. Because it's fine this way. I prefer to truly help people achieve results I earn from publishing. I set a record with publishing, and I don't.
I believe it is the only course I have taken that did not offer any type of service. Nothing. I mean, I was the one asking for advice during the coaching sessions, but there was no kind of take my service, take this, take that. And this made me, I really appreciated it, because you are completely free from any conflict of interest. In short, you act in the student's best interest.
Yes, exactly. This is where the program originates. That is the goal-oriented program, because the interest is mutual. For the first time in the world of training, both parties are equally invested, right? Because it's easy to say the student needs to be motivated, yes, but the trainer or the coach needs to be motivated too. Because if you do X hours for X consultations and someone comes and just does the bare minimum and that's it, then the problem remains yours, not the trainer's who leaves.
That's right.
This is something I liked.
There was one thing that had never happened to me before, that maybe after 4 to 5 days of not hearing from me, it was the coach who sent me a message asking how things were going, suggesting we organize the coaching session, meet up, do things, and keep him updated. Then every time I made a brief, before sending it to the writing company or the graphic company, I sent it to him. He reviewed it for me, approved it for me, meaning you are really guided step by step in this process.
And that's where it makes a difference. I mean, this really makes a difference.
At the beginning, yes, it saves you a lot of time and money, in the sense that if I had to do this program on my own, I would have learned things anyway, because I'm not stupid. But instead of reaching this goal in 6 months, that is from March to November, it would have taken me 2 years. Spending much more money, because obviously you go by trial and error, right? So you do a job, realize it's wrong, but you realize it afterwards, and by then the money is spent. So you have to start over. But if your coach tells you beforehand, look, this is wrong, you need to do it this way, you save that money. And all the time you would have spent figuring out the mistake. In other words, it saves you a lot in terms of time and money.
For example, you took less time to reach the net earnings than I did when I started.
Well, of course, because if you do it alone, you still understand things, because obviously one learns by doing, but it takes much more time.
Exactly, you hurt yourself. But if someone tells you to do it this way, be careful, there.
In recent times, terrorism has quickly resurfaced.
Be careful, there.
I avoided many mistakes. I also avoided some risks because I was publishing a book with a trademark, and therefore I was also risking an account ban, which I hadn't noticed. So having someone to prevent you from making mistakes, let's say, loses.
Exactly. So Mark, let's briefly recap the differences and then move on to discuss the program a bit more. So we mentioned, let's say, set up the different course management or this cover. Did you notice any differences in keyword research compared to the progress training with us?
Yes. That is also another matter. I used to do keyword research that had to scientifically meet certain parameters, and that is another aspect that has completely changed. So now I make the mistake that according to your method, and indeed, besides being much simpler, because you don't have to check that all the scientifically found parameters are there, but you just look at the result. Now, I won't go into technical details because it is explained very well in the course, step by step. So there's no point in me explaining it. And besides, it's completely different.
I can give you some numbers. There too, you understand where you were going to place yourself, and you evaluated it before placing yourself there, right?
Yeah.
Shall we not cross our fingers?
But then, yes, they were missing out on a lot of opportunities, because there are some spectacular keywords that I used to ignore because they didn't meet a certain number.
We are already saying too much.
And I was practically missing out on golden nuggets.
Oh my, really? Then too much confusion was created? Because even there, I feel like saying, in fact, my mission is to bring clarity to this industry. Complexity created for, in fact, what is the answer after? Book on profitable keywords, keyword research software. Why complexity is created, 500 strategies, and the reviewer here and there. It's simple, schematic. There is only one keyword research strategy that Mark and those within the program know, but it's very, very simplified, guys.
In fact, to summarize in one sentence, your program is much simpler and much more effective, in the sense that things are easier to implement, but they are also more effective. As I mentioned earlier regarding the cover brief, I mean, now I spend much less time doing a cover brief compared to before with the old one with the, however, the covers and the cover designs are more effective because they get many more clicks. So simplification does not mean deterioration. On the contrary, in this case, simplifying but in the right way means a significant improvement.
We need to aim for that, meaning a good reproducer does that. It simplifies the processes anyway.
Simplify the processes in such a way that they are also more easily replicable.
Exactly. So you can delegate to work as little as possible. Indeed, when I set the record of 75K in a month, it was with 1 hour of work per day. Why 1 hour per day?
Well, yes, more or less working 8 hours a day. I spend an hour and a half in the evening, an hour and a half, 2 at most, and then on the weekend.
Because indeed, the matter of organization, management, numbers, that is seeing everything under control, then you can afford to work an hour a day, but feel good about yourself mentally because you know that everything is okay, right? Everything is under control. Everything is sorted out. So you also enjoy the time when you're not working right. Because I am someone who, if I know I have something half done, I can't relax, I can't enjoy myself, I can't go to bed, I need to have everything sorted out to be able to do it. So, and then I would also say another difference that I wanted to ask you about, even though I already know the answer, is the ads strategy, which, by the way, we recently introduced a very new update just a week ago.
Well, as for the ads, yes. It's a continuous update because the ads also change. They introduce new features, new modes, seasonality. So it is very, very useful to be guided because then there is a strategy for the high season, a strategy for the low season. There have been tips on specific days to actually turn them off because historically it shows that you only get a flood of clicks without purchases. That is, and then here we are. These are exactly good. What are you? What does he say? Thank you. And then your fantastic Excel spreadsheet to follow. Because even in ISI, the perspective completely changes. That is, it shifts from a viewpoint centered on ACOS to one centered on ROAS. Now, well, I use these technical terms to understand. However, it completely changes the type of analysis to be done with the axes and how to manage them.
In fact, we can say it live here that ACOS is really a parameter you need to forget about. It doesn't matter at all. Forget about ACOS. Forget about the ideal ACOS, your ACOS with which, because that stuff doesn't work, that's not the game anymore. Now we have indeed evolved. The market dynamics have evolved this way. So the necessary steps now are?
Let's say it's a completely different way of doing ad optimization and analysis. It's really completely different.
Exactly. If you see me looking over here, Mark, and also the guys from the journalist team, it's because I've noted down all the points I want to discuss with you. Being a bit talkative, I might get a little lost otherwise, right? So now we have seen the differences between the training he had before and the training he had with us this side of the course. Now let's get into the specifics regarding the mentoring program, shall we? And let's say I always like to make a preamble, which I always do, but I feel it's important to say that when someone gives you money, it is essential. It is truly essential to take their situation to heart and bring them to where they want to go and where it was said they would arrive. So I'm not someone who can offer a package of 3 calls, 6 calls, and then leave you if you're still in doubt and haven't understood. And then it's normal because there are people who might need 10 calls, 15 calls, 20 calls, 100 calls. Everyone has their own pace. Of course, I mean, it's right that they achieve the result. And so personally, I can't just leave the person after 6 calls, maybe in difficulty. It's not in my nature. So this is really a preamble that I wanted to make, and I invite everyone watching this live to make sure when they want to undertake a certain type of path, that there is a real interest in actually reaching the goal demonstrated by facts. And maybe interviews with previous students, well, you trusted, you immediately joined the program, even if not.
I joined immediately because I already knew both you and Giuseppe from your previous experiences, as you both had experience with other companies, collaborations, etc. So I knew you. I knew that you weren't, just talkers, so I trusted you. Indeed. Yes, I trusted you because at that moment I needed a tutor, precisely a tutor, who would take me by the hand and guide me, because I was completely lost. So I risked leaving an activity that I liked, that I wanted to do, but I wanted to do it the right way, not randomly, through trial and error, sitting idle for months. And so you arrived at the right moment, in the sense that your goal was the 5K net goal, but for all levels, meaning that if someone was already making 10K a month, you would bring them to 15. In my case, I started from scratch. So the goal was 5K. Therefore, in my case, the coaching sessions started from zero, meaning from the beginning. It is obvious that if an already experienced self-advisor who already makes 10K a month does it, it goes to a more advanced level. In my case, we started right from keyword research analysis and the brief to send to the writing company. So we really started from the basics. Then I started publishing the first books, following all the steps together, meaning that we did the brief together.
Let's wait to go into detail about this. Anyway, I want to tell you that I am happy because, let's say, the thing that stimulates me the most, that I like the most, that gives me the most satisfaction is seeing people with great potential like you. Okay, but they can't channel it and can't keep an audience, unlocking this potential and putting them in a position to earn, and above all, making them the person required to make certain earnings, because I am sure that obviously you will continue, and that you have, and that you are sure you have the skills to continue on your own and even reach CKNet.
Also, as motivation, because obviously, knowing that on Thursday evening, I had the coach and that I had to do certain exercises and tasks for the coach, I would sit down in the evening and do them. Maybe if I didn't have this commitment, after the workday, in the evening, I would have sprawled out on the couch to watch a movie. So having a fixed weekly commitment with another person psychologically predisposes you to take on a commitment. I made a commitment, so I have to do it. Also out of respect for the other person who is following me, who gave it to me. And this greatly reduces the time, because in that week, you have to do those things and you do them. Instead, without the coach, you would have done it in 2 weeks. In 3 weeks, you have already taken 3 times as long. The coach serves you on a weekly basis. You know that on Thursday evening, you have the coach, and you know that by Thursday, you have to do everything that was asked of you, and you do it. And by doing it, you learn to do it on your own. Then on Thursday, you review it together with the coach. And this is fundamental.
Because obviously, when someone starts a business, they have to step out of their comfort zone. They have to do different things that they haven't done before. And this causes a bit of discomfort. It's easy to fall into procrastination, saying, I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know, I'm not sure. So let's see, maybe No, when you have a commitment, as Mark said, you do things, then you do them poorly. You make mistakes. That's perfectly fine. You've learned, you've understood, exactly.
And you see them together and you do it again. I mean, this is fundamental on your own, especially if you work and have other things. You tend to say, okay, I have to do this thing now. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Instead, this way, you have a goal, a motivation that drives you to act. Anyway, dedicating that hour, hour and a half every evening to self-publishing.
Exactly. So let's talk specifically about the program. So the program is structured like this. Let's say
there is a support chat on Telegram. So it's personal, not a group chat, meaning it's just you and your coach.
Exactly. So any doubts, concerns, or updates on the work status, anything can be asked in the group and we'll receive a tailor-made personalized response in a timely manner, of course, depending on the commitment. But I want to ask, a positive experience regarding this, Mark? Yes, very much. The entire organizational management part is provided, so a whole series of files must be filled out, starting from keyword research to accounting management to review management. This way, one can organize the work well and be monitored by the person.
Exactly, yes, because we work on a shared folder. So the files I was working on were also seen by the coach. Then initially, of course, all the briefs are prepared together. Everything is done together from the research. After that, once you understand, you know how it is, they start trying to do it on their own. Then really, before sending them, there is always supervision and correction together on every step until reaching the final goal, which is to be able to do everything independently and well from start to finish. That is, in the right way.
And then, as you gradually do things, you internalize more and more, but the support remains weekly. So we check how the books are doing. We check how the ads are performing. So there is a whole post-launch management, which is the most important phase.
All the corrections to make when there is a book that maybe doesn't sell or sells less than its potential, understanding what and where to change, in short.
Goes to read the ads together, to optimize the ads, to optimize the book based on what we are told by the ads. And indeed, everything is done step by step together because, let's say, it's a sort of collaboration where the operational part is obviously carried out by Mark in this case, but the intent is precisely to reach the goal together. So the covers have to be done well. We do them together, otherwise we waste time. The keyword has to be the right one. We choose it together. The cover, indeed, no, I already mentioned the cover, but the reviews, we study how to do them, how not to do them. The ads, we optimize them together because here we need to reach the goal. Come what may, okay? So let's say this type of program was what you needed, then indeed.
Yes, in fact, it took me 6 months to reach the goal.
Okay, and a question related to this, how much did it actually help to have someone who is hands-on every day and who, let's say, set the Italian record a few months earlier? How much peace of mind and help did it give you?
So having someone who follows you in everything is essential. If I want to learn to play the piano, I don't just sit there and play the piano. I go to a pianist and learn from him and take lessons with him in everything. I mean, there's a fundamental difference between someone like me who does it at an amateur level and those like you who have been doing it professionally for 2 years now, because you practically do only that. I mean, and so it is obvious that the hours of experience and work you have behind you are exponential compared to what I can put in. which is why it is essential to have guidance at the beginning.
I say this, Mark, because it often happens to me as I am bombarded every day by messages from publishers to hear, let's say, about people who rely on certain other people who, however, have not demonstrated results, or at least noteworthy results. I mean, I set the Italian record, so I feel qualified to teach. And secondly, that there are students who have achieved the goal, but with active participation from that person. So actually related to the goal. And we're talking about net guys. They matter little, as we saw earlier with Mark.
No, net, that's what matters.
That's all there is, because numbers, yes, they are nice, but there's more. It matters.
What matters is what goes into your pocket.
Exactly. And let's say another thing I wanted to ask you is about your mindset, right? We did a module in my course on mindset, and even there, I think I simplified it. Then you, tell me, because even there, I saw many things that I didn't like not getting results. I bought all the top services, not getting results. So at this point, it must be a mindset problem, right? And off you go. Thousands of euros for a mindset course that takes you away from the moment you are no longer publishing. You are wasting time. You are investing the resources that you could invest in publishing and gaining expertise. You are investing them in something else that is taking you away. So I wanted to understand a bit what you think about the mindset module and what advice you give to publishers who are not getting results right now.
But then, even there, the mindset module is structured exactly like the other modules of the course. So it is simpler and more effective. And the advice I give is the same as before. You need to set a goal and make sure to achieve it. So eliminate all the walls and obstacles that could distract you from that goal. This program helps you a lot because by giving you a fixed weekly schedule with mini goals to achieve, week by week, you ensure that little by little, but consistently, you reach the macro goal. I did it in 6 months, which seems short, and indeed it is short. But in 6 months, with a coach every week, and in some weeks, even 2 coaching sessions, we made a lot of progress. And there are many, meaning that many hours are dedicated, plus the communications in chat and everything, in short.
Plus the post, because obviously the program remains active. And obviously, if you will have, I mean, if we need to have a check-in call in a month, or if in a month you have doubts things, I mean, you haven't finished the program, I mean.
Then we also have the call for the group students every Monday evening. So another time during the week, there is this additional call where all questions can be asked if desired. So
a relationship is also formed, a self-publishing community.
Yes, it is also a set publishing community that knows each other. Yes.
Exactly. And now we come to the highlight that everyone has been waiting for. You know that our principle, my core principle, is transparency. So obviously, if I say something, I want to prove it. I care about showing your dashboards from KDP and Amazon ads to actually see that we have achieved this goal together. Let's look at the journey, how it has evolved. Don't worry, of course, all sensitive data will be obscured, so nothing will be visible. Your name, the TD, books, nothing will be seen. But obviously to have, let's say, clarity, because I say there are plenty of dashboards, but then there's no net. Can you show us? All right. So I need to share my screen. Yes, if you can share your screen, we'll see it.
I share it. It tells me that you need to enable me.
Yes, I will enable you right away.
Okay. then share. So let's start with the KDP report.
Mari, if you can add the total and we put the chart to see.
So total for quote November.
But can you also add this year so we can take a quick look at the graph?
So this year, all right, obviously we are here in December. It has started. Today is December 2nd.
So here we can see.
So I started in April. In April, I started April, May with us. The increase, the exponential increase.
The exponential increase is constant. So this really shows that it's a matter of competence, because there can be a peak if you hit the right book. But obviously, when the growth is like this, it means you are structuring your business well. Now, maybe we can look at the last 3 months from September, if you want to tell us a little bit about it.
Last 3 months?
No, sorry. I mean, take the single month, so September, including the ad expenses. If you want to tell us how September went, if you have something you want to share. Otherwise, we can move directly to October and November.
Okay. So I have to do...
You can set to custom.
Customized from the 1st to the 30th.
No, always click the first one. Exactly, then go to the other side to November and go back with the arrows.
Okay.
Perfect. And set September 30. Perfect. And press app.
Okay. So in September, I closed with 6,516, which arrived in November 3 days ago. But here, I was still with very high HAS, meaning that, in fact, we worked a lot in coaching because I had some HAS that were taking away a large portion of the order. In October, however, we...
Can you also write the dash of the HAS?
Yes, okay. Okay. Wait. Here. Where do I need to go in the report? Yes. Time range. Okay. Down. 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 No. Down.
Low column bag. Time interval. There it is, total.
The only thing... okay. And here you can see all the book titles though, eh?
Yes, no. Everything is hidden here, eh? Everything is hidden here. Don't worry. Relax.
So, 1st of September.
He tells it from 4th to 30th.
All right. From the 4th.
30. Put the first 30. Okay.
So here it is. I spent 2043.
Okay, so can we talk about the 4 little huts?
Yes. Okay.
So September on the 4 little huts. Let's see August.
So October.
Yes, excuse me.
October. Which would be... Oh no, the previous month is November. So, 1st. October now 1st. October. In October, I made 9185, a good 30% growth. Yes, 3042.
Therefore, achieving a good 30% growth.
Yes. Okay. 3042. Then there is also an A1000, 1005 to add 1005 from England, UK.
Okay, so we can say.
In fact, here in October, I almost reached the goal. Out of 9,100, it was practically 4,002 net. 4,002 net. So I reached the goal in November, where at last the expense percentage compared to royalties finally stabilized. Where did I do it?
37 gross and net.
So from November 1 to November 30, we have here 3,187, Mila 377 gross. Net then from the 1st of November to the 30th, then from the 1st of November to the 30th. So I practically spent the same as the previous month on ATS 3100, with the difference that I made here.
More UK as well, right?
Let's add 1,500 from the UK, meaning I had the same ATS expenses as the previous month, but with 4,500 euros more in gross, so 4,500 more in net. I reached around 8,000 net, or even more. I was just checking earlier, because now I handle the data.
So you released it abundantly, let's say.
Yes, the month in October, I was close. This month, I broke through. I reached almost more than 8,000 net, so almost 9,000 in total.
So 3,000 euros more than our goal.
Exactly, exactly.
And how did December start?
December started off great. In 2 days, so current month. In 2 days, I made $11.85, considering that in America it is 6 hours earlier.
Today is still half a day.
Exactly, but above all, I didn't spend anything on ads. I spent like 80 euros. Now, 1st of December, 2nd of December. This month, 26 euros, sir. I mean, I'm not selling everything organically these days.
So we can say that it is 1150 euros net.
Yes, this month, yes.
After 36 hours, because, as Mark said, in the United States, they are 6 hours behind, and in some places, 8 hours behind. So there, now here, it's around 7:30 p.m. It's late afternoon there. There, it's the afternoon.
Exactly.
People will sleep a little longer.
The biggest shopping time is in the evening.
In the evening? Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, you can stop sharing now, like this.
Okay.
Together.
How do you do it? Ah, here it is. Stop sharing.
Here we are. I am really, really happy for your results. Congratulations, because obviously,
Thank you.
On this side, there is the information, there is the support, there are all the tools. But then after those tools,
of course, it's not like the goal is 5K. So I just sit here doing nothing and reach 5K. Obviously, one must commit and take action. That is clear. It must be clear. It's something that I liked. I really enjoy this activity. I discovered it and it truly entertains me. In fact, I am continuing. Even now, I haven't stopped. I keep doing the same things because I enjoy it. I like it. However, like everything, it requires commitment.
Of course, but it's also smarter in the sense of making the most of a program and really learning all the skills, because then a person can stand on their own. So a person should acquire as much as possible within a program. They shouldn't look for a mother figure or someone who has something in their own course.
Of course, it's like hiring a personal trainer. It's not like he does the exercises in the gym for you. If you want to improve the exercises, you have to do them yourself in the gym. You have to do the hard work yourself. Even the best personal trainer in the world can't help you if you don't do the exercises yourself. He speeds up the process for you, tells you the tricks, gives you the guidelines, makes the plan for you, stays by your side, corrects you, but then you have to do the exercises yourself.
Exactly. I would like to make a small reflection on what he earned this month, right? Which is 36 hours, which is not even 2 days.
Well, in fact, yesterday, I earned almost $750, which is my record since I started doing series. Today, in fact, I was at 1100, but that's because today we are still only a third of the way through the day. I made 750 in 1 day, of which 690 were net. I mean, these are crazy numbers. At least for me. but maybe there is someone who earns that much.
I wanted to reflect on the fact because, it's easy to lose track here, right? It's easy to start throwing around big numbers, right? I say 30, someone else says 40, I say 65, and you lose track. I mean, here we say K as if they were candies nowadays, right? I mean, guys, Mark made 1,000 euros net, practically 1,150 euros net in 36 hours now. He also works as an employee. I don't know how much he earns as an employee, but we can a little more. With a month of work, a month of getting up, going to the workplace, working, and dedicating time to an activity. For example, the audience told me that they like their job. It can be engaging or not, working towards someone else's goals. And then, at the end of the month, you get what you managed to achieve in 36 hours. I mean, for me, this is madness in the sense that it really should be an inspiration for all the people who are still procrastinating, who don't start and don't begin a business, who don't move at all.
And then it's something of your own. It's the difference between being an employee and an entrepreneur, because you manage all the processes, all the steps, the contacts with suppliers. It's something completely yours.
Manage your day.
It is also another satisfaction because you choose the product to put on the market. So you choose the book, you choose the cover, you choose the type of product, the type of product sheet. It all depends on you. You don't have to ask anyone for permission. You don't have to ask. That means you organize your day, you organize your work. It's a completely different thing compared to being an employee.
Absolutely. Indeed, the satisfactions that come are both personal, as you were telling me, and then economic. I say that everyone, in my opinion, should start and begin an online business. In terms of skills, we talked a bit for the more experienced ones and for those just starting out, right? Beginners, as we would say. Let's do it for beginners. That is, in terms of skills, publishing is a business that requires crazy skills or talent. I mean, let's say it is very simple in terms of skills.
Certainly among online businesses, it is one of the simplest in the sense that it has fewer variables to analyze compared to other platforms or even online sales businesses. When you decide to sell products, for example, different ones, you have many more variables to analyze. You have warehouse storage, you manage returns, which is not the case with publishing, meaning that Amazon provides the warehouse. Everything is from Amazon. We only need a computer.
Exactly.
So it is definitely one of the simplest businesses to analyze. Then obviously being so simple, it also has a lot of competition. So the main task is to find the right niche, in short, the right product, because with so much competition, you need to stand out. You need to...
So your competition, obviously the online business, is much more well known now compared to years ago. Mario, like me, is a bit more experienced. So the competition has increased significantly in almost all businesses. Just think about the costs of Facebook traffic. They are through the roof. So all those businesses like e-commerce, dropshipping have different skills and requirements. So there, the marketing is done and managed entirely by the person. Whereas here, people come to Amazon because Amazon is a giant. Everyone buys from it. Then, okay, we need to do the ads. But it's different from building, engineering a marketing process. I mean, here we need to be good at creating a good product, placing it in the right spot, and managing the ads well. But I want to say it's much, much simpler. Mark, one last technical question, then I'll leave you in peace. Regarding the budget, many people ask me how much budget is needed to start. To achieve these numbers He must have made many books, etc., etc. What do you think?
Well, surely you can't start from zero because initially you need to invest. Also because Amazon pays after 2 months. So all the sales from November will be credited to my account on January 29th. While the has are paid immediately, sure. So you need to have some starting capital. But compared to other businesses, it can also be a limited capital, meaning you don't have to start with a lot. I had it. So I started right away in the first month with 3 books. Then the second month I made another 3 and so on. But if someone has more limited capital, they start with 1 book, done well, then the next month they make another. And by the 3rd month, they start receiving royalties from the previous month. Those royalties, well, the fundamental thing at the beginning, like all healthy businesses, is that all profits must be reinvested at the start. Otherwise, the company won't grow, right? It's one of the fundamental lessons of economics. So everything you earn at the beginning should be reinvested into the business, new books, new things. After that, once the business is launched and you start seeing results, for example, this year, everything I earned, I reinvested starting from January. I will start keeping at least 30% for myself. I have decided, so I will put 30% of the earnings into a separate savings account because the goal is to buy a new house. And then I reinvested the rest. After that, you start setting aside the earnings. But yes, you definitely need a minimum. Monthly capital, it's not like you have to start with 10,000 euros. Even 1,000 or 2,000 is enough. But you do need something because there are costs. You have to pay for the book. You have to pay for the ads. You can start.
When you know what you're doing, you can start even with little, a book. Obviously, for those who have been following me for a shorter time, amazing results can be achieved with a book. I mean, with just 1 book, I made more than 30K in 3 months. I have another book that has made me over 50K spread out over time. So obviously there is a great return. But you can also start with a small budget. One last question, Mark, that I really wanted to ask you. What are your future goals? If you want to talk about them, if you feel like it.
Yes, I have already mentioned one.
More in the short term on the business, therefore monetary on
my business is to continue. The next goal is 30K. I would like to get there as soon as possible, ideally without any delay.
Why? A goal without a deadline.
But I always set 6 months, right? I had set this goal that I did with you, the 5K net goal. I had set it within 6 months and I achieved it because it started in April and I reached it in November. And now within 6 months, I have 1030K.
Okay, we are in December for June.
By June, I was seeing 30K. Yes.
So I tell you.
Also because now, obviously, the experience is different. The skills are different. And I already start with a base of books that make me 14, 15K a month. So I just need to increase.
So in 6 months, we will do an update to see if Mark has reached the goal. I am sure he will. Because once you reach a certain milestone, you understand, you just need to keep working. By the way, another guy I interviewed made me commit publicly by asking him his goal with a deadline, which was 30K, and he achieved it the following month. And so we updated the interview.
Well, if it continues like this, I will add it in December too.
Look, I did the interview with him in September. With Mark, you saw it in the group. I did the interview with him in September. Okay, goal with a deadline. He told me by December 30K. He achieved it in October. And he kept them.
Great, great.
So great. I thank you very much for your time. I am sure you will achieve your goals for sure. And we always keep each other updated. We are in the group for anything.
Sure, yes, yes. See you later. Okay, bye.
Hi, guys. Hello, hello.